there's only one aim for this video, this tutorial on compression, and that is to teach you to hear it. Okay, now I've been using compression for a long time on my home recordings, a few years, and it was always the one effect that I struggled to kind of understand what it was doing. I just couldn't hear it when I turned it on, when I put it on my bass guitar or my drum or whatever. So this is just a short tutorial which you should set up in your own DAW, in your own computer, and do this yourself so that you can learn to hear what compression does. Okay, so what I've done is I've set up a bass drum. I've just got a track with a bass drum on it, and that's what it sounds like. There's no compression on it, there's no effects on it at all. And I'm going to put a compressor on that track. Okay, I'm just going to take the default one, and I'm now going to do some settings on here to make it a bit easier for us to hear the effect. Okay, so I suppose the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the ratio, so the actual amount of audio the amount of audio reduction is significant enough for us to hear it. And then I'm going to increase the threshold. Let me just hit the thing, so that this goes up to about a 10 dB reduction, just so we can get some kind of idea. And the other thing I'm now going to do is I'm going to turn it on and off so that I can get the volumes about the same when it's on and off. That sounds about the same. Okay, right, so we've got a compressor on the track. I've set the ratio and the threshold just so we can hear the compression, and now we're going to take some extreme positions on the attack and the release. And before I do that, I'm going to show you a small screenshot I did, because it's my belief that these numbers on the attack and release are basically useless. You don't really know what they are. So all I've done is I've created this for myself to make it so that I can really understand what's going on. If it's on the left of the attack, it's fast attack, i.e. it compresses instantly, it lowers the volume instantly as soon as that hears that noise. And if it's on the right, it's a slow attack. It takes a wee while to suppress or compress the sound. And the same with the release. If it's to the left, the release is very fast. It lets it go back to the original volume right away. If it's on the right, the release is very slow. It takes a wee while to come back to the original volume. That's all you need to know. On the left it's fast, on the right it's slow. These numbers mean nothing. Okay, let's go back to this. So to be able to hear this thing, I'm going to take the instantaneous, fastest possible attack, and I'm going to take the slowest possible release. And so what that will do is it'll grab the noise, the sound right away, but it won't let it go. Okay, it'll take a while to let it go. So if we can't hear compression with those settings, we'll never be able to hear compression. Okay, so let's hear what it sounds like with compression off. And now let's hear it with those extreme settings for attack and release. Quite kind of dead, that's what I hear. Quite kind of dull. Without compression it's quite open, quite kind of loose. With extreme compression, it's a bit like hitting a pillow with your fist. There's like no attack to it, it's just very kind of dull. Okay, and because we've got the release taking a long time, the initial volume suppression stays doesn't let it go back up again, and we can see that in the needle there. Okay, let's just turn it off and on a few times. Off, quite open, boomy. On, kind of dull. We're not really getting that initial thump. Off, on. Can you hear that? As I say, if you can't hear that, don't worry. Set this up on your own DAW and experiment with it yourself. Okay, so let's have a wee listen to what the opposite of that would be. If I went for a very slow compression attack, it's going to take a bit of time to grab that. It will let that initial attack of the bass drum, the beater hitting the bass drum, come through, and then I'll try and suppress it very slow. And then in terms of the release, I'm not going to release it right away. Okay, so we've got that initial thud, thwack, and even the release of the suppression, and there might not be much suppression here at all, it's going to be released right away. Let's see what that sounds like. So it's off, sounds like that. Turn it on. Well, instantly, actually seems the volume's gone up. We're getting the initial beat, which we weren't getting before when it was dull. Off, on, more aggressive, I would say. So the attack, very slow to come in. Release, it's released very fast. Okay, hopefully you are hearing some differences between these, with the compression off, with the compression on, with the very fast attack, and with the very slow attack. Okay, let's experiment. Let's go back to very fast attack. Okay, and very slow release. And what I want to do here is just see if we can hear any difference as we change the attack settings. Okay, let's see that's it off. Oops, sorry. Off. On. Back to that very dull thwap, like hitting a pillow. There's no attack. So let's see if we can get some of that attack back by changing the attack here. Actually, that incredibly slow release is still making it quite dull. I think we have to pull that back to actually hear any difference. Alright, we're starting to hear a difference now. Dull, bit more open, even more open. Right, now to get a usable compression, you don't want that incredibly dull sound. And one thing I've read is that we also want to try and get our release time so that this needle doesn't quite go back to zero. It goes back to zero or back and forward in time with the music. And the way to do that is to get it so that the needle gets to about 90 odd percent. It doesn't quite hit the zero, and we can do that just by experimenting with this release time. You see it kind of slowing down, doesn't quite hit it. And now that would be in time, that compression is in time with the beat of that bass drum. That's as much as I'm going to tell you in this tutorial. I just want you to go away now, set up your own DAW, set up a compressor, replicate the threshold and ratio and get the volumes about the same, and then experiment with your attack times and your release times, and listen carefully for the changes you hear in the sound, and hopefully you'll start to hear compression in your mix. Obviously this is not tremendously useful in terms of telling you how what it's doing in the mix, but when you start to recognise the sound, you'll start to realise what sounds the best in your mix. Okay, we'll leave it at that.